Hey everybody, welcome back to Reselling History. Scott here, and I got a pretty crazy video today. I wanted to show you some of my recent acquisitions this past week. I went to a friend's house who I've made trades with and bought some things in the past, and I paid $200 for some Militaria items. And everything has some pretty good value, but there's one item specifically that really shocked me. I was not expecting it to be what it actually is, and I'm going to touch on that last, and it's worth the wait for sure. First up, I'm going to go over like the smaller items that I got, and we'll see. I paid $200 for everything. We'll see if I can make my money back. Okay, first up are some of the small items that I got, and I always like getting small things because if I do sell them, they're easy to ship. So we got some visor, I think they're called cockades, and they're both German. I think this one might be a little bit newer or like a reproduction. This one does seem pretty aged, and it's got some nice weight to it. So this one might be original. I don't think there's a lot of value with these. This is a post-war German fireman helmet emblem. So these are pretty cool. This is probably a $20 or $30 piece. And we also have this little stick pin here that belonged to what looks like a World War I German veteran of the Great War, 1914, 1918. So that's pretty cool as well. We also have this German patch, and I think this may be from World War II. This is what I believe it's like a airplane mechanic patch. You have the engine right there in the middle, and this would go on their uniform, probably on the shoulder or somewhere around the breast area. And we also have some tinnies here. Now, German tinnies, they're not worth a whole lot of money unless you have like a rare one, but a lot of them were put out during the war, like the 1920s all the way to the end of the war. And this is a World War I German veteran tinny. This is probably like from the 1930s. There's no swastika on it, you just have the Iron Cross right there with the Stahlhelm helmet. So yeah, this is a nice one right here. This is probably a $20 or maybe $10 to $20 tinny. Not a whole lot of money. And this one is missing the little Bakelite emblem that would go right here. And this is not really worth much, even if it had the emblem. These are really common. Now this one I thought was pretty interesting. I've never seen it before. It kind of has a Romanesque or almost like an Egyptian scenery on it. And it reads Tag der Deutschen Kunst. And then it has the date, MCM XXXIX. That is, I think that's 1939, if I remember correctly. And then on the back it says, has probably the company or the factory that made this, and it was made in Germany, München, Germany. Now I did a little research on this, and this commemorates the first architectural building built by the Nazis in the 1930s, I think the 30s. But yeah, it commemorates the first building built by them. So yeah, it has some pretty fascinating history behind it. Now, as far as value-wise, I did see one sold for $130 around there, or best offer. Somebody took an offer on it. So I think this one has a little bit more value. The one that I saw that sold was in better condition though. This one does have some wear to the finish from age. But you know, I'm gonna place probably a $40 on this tinny right here, 40 or 50 to the right person. Very cool. All right, and now we're moving away from the German items. And right here we have a World War II bombardier bullion patch. This one was pretty interesting because it has this pin on the back, and it does seem to be an older pin. the gentleman I got it from said he didn't put this on here, so I'd like to think that the airman himself did that, kind of like a theater made patch pin wing set. But yeah, this is very, very cool right here. And I'm a big fan of the new series Masters of the Air. If you guys haven't seen that, I would definitely check that out. This makes me think of that series when I see that. And if you do watch that show, it details each role of the airmen when they're flying in the B-17 Flying Fortress. So yeah, not a whole lot of value on this, but I placed maybe $40 or $50 on this as well. And next up, we have a United States Marine Corps pinback right here, and this is a nice one. And I do know that these can go for some good money, especially the older they get. There's a lot of Marine Corps collectors out there. Now, I do need a little help identifying what era this is probably from. And it might be a sweetheart pin. It does have some finish wear from age, so I'm thinking it's at least World War II era. It could be earlier, but I know a lot of times you can find out by how the eagle and the globe are positioned or designed on it, and this one does have some lines on the globe, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is probably a $40 or $50 piece as well. All right, and I actually forgot, there are two more German related items, and these are two figurines that I picked up in the trade as well. So this first figurine, this is made by Lineal, made in Germany. And I do have a little bit of knowledge of this stuff, and I have dealt with it in the past. In fact, you can still buy some of the old catalogs to find out if these were even issued. And this is an authentic figurine right here. He's supposed to be it looks like just a regular German army soldier with his bayonet right there. But one thing that's not original, or at least I don't think is original, is the flag. I think somebody might have made that themselves. Maybe the flag, like the pole, is original, but I think somebody put this SS symbol because it doesn't make sense that there's a SS with a non-SS soldier. So, not fully original, but still very cool. Let's look at the other one. Now this one, I really like the look of this. It was very detailed. In fact, I think it's a little too detailed and clean looking to be original. I think somebody probably made this sometime after the war themselves and they put another SS flag on it, but he is fashioned to be an SS soldier. And on the bottom, it does say Elastilin, which was another toy figurine maker, German figurine maker. They didn't just make German soldiers, they made just about everything, cowboys and Indians, and a lot of their figurines can go for some really decent money, especially if you find the old vehicles. They can go for upwards of $1,000. Now, as far as these value, I think that just because they're not fully original, they still have some decent money just because of how cool they look. There's a lot of collectors out there who would like to add this guy to his collection and this one. So I'm gonna put a value of $100 at least on each of them. And it may take a while to sell, but I'm sure somebody will appreciate it. All right, so here is a World War II M1 helmet. I got this in the trade also. And this helmet, this is an M1 US Army helmet. It has some netting on it. I don't think the netting is original. In fact, I think the helmet may have been repainted at one point. It looks like somebody's restoration project, but this is an M1 helmet. It's a rear seam helmet, so it's like late World War II era. And it does have, right here, these are called bales, and these swivel, so not early war. This is definitely a late war period. But it does have the straps inside the liner. Let's take out the liner. liner looks pretty good. It's got a few cracks here on the rim. And then inside the steel pot, I just suspect that somebody restored this, like repainted it. I can't find any markings on the pot itself. If you guys know like a better way to date these or to find out who manufactured it, what factory, please drop a comment down below. The M1 helmets I'm still learning a lot about. So it does have the liner, but I lifted this up here and this looks pretty modern inside of this. This is like leather right here. This looks modern. So what do you guys think? Did somebody restore this to make it look better for, like, you know, display or reenactment? And it also has some writing right here. SMC. That must be the manufacturer of the liner, and it's size medium. Interesting. But yeah, this is a really nice helmet. I don't think it's the most desirable type of M1 helmet. I think it's probably safe to say it's worth $100 to the right person. Okay, everybody, here is the final part of the trade, and this is it's crazy. It turned out to be much more than it is. It's a very historical item. So first, let me give you a little backstory. The guy I traded with, he has a lot of older uniforms like this, and this definitely looks to be a World War I British or Canadian red coat uniform. See, it's got the buttons on there. These are, I think these are artillery buttons. And then this might be artillery also. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it's got some damage on it, which I'm gonna go over in a second and tell you why it has that damage. Yeah, but the gentleman I got this from, he got this from a Hollywood wardrobe business that went out of function in Hollywood, and he got it many years ago. He got a lot of different uniforms, and I think this is one of his last ones. So a lot of times back in the day, the golden age of Hollywood, they would use actual uniforms like this in their movies, and they would just kind of rig them up with like different types of buttons or medals, and I don't think they really cared about accuracy as much back then. But it does appear to be an original World War I uniform. So, you know, World War I uniform, British, Canadian, World War I era tunic. It's probably worth maybe $100. I'm not entirely sure. It is in rough condition, and I was taking photos of this thing. I was trying to get the tags right here. And here's one of the tags. It's United Costumers Inc. And this is an old wardrobe company. I did some research on it. And I can't really make out the name here. There's like a R and there's like a A-E-A-S-E, and then there's a number. And here it also says United Costumers Inc. I think that's what that stands for, size 38. Before I try to sell this, I should do my due diligence on it. And this totally went over my head, but I just opened this right here, this right side, and it says Rex Lease. So right away, I was like, Rex Lease, that kind of sounds like a Hollywood name. So I did a Google search, and it turns out he's somewhat of a well-known golden age Hollywood actor. He was in a lot of Western movies and a lot of like melodrama, and he started out even in the silent era, like the 1920s or so. Now, he's definitely no John Wayne. He's not that well known, but he has like a whole Wikipedia page. There's a few websites about him, and he made over 300 movies back in the day. And if you look here, there's a lot of like sweat stains in this. So man, it's kind of crazy to think that if this was his, which I'm almost certain this is his, he might have sweated in this. I know that sounds weird, but you know, And by the way, I do think this says Rex Lease, like it's kind of spelled out weird. I can't really make it out all the way. What do you guys think? Do you think that says Rex Lease? But anyways, I was pretty shocked because I just thought it was a regular old uniform from like the World War I era. And it turns out that it most likely was worn by a famous Hollywood actor during the Golden Age, during a time when actors didn't make as much money as they did. I mean, if this guy was in over 300 films, I don't think he made a lot of money. In fact, I read he was an extra in a lot of movies later on. He had a few years where he was the main star in a lot of motion pictures. And the other kind of sad thing is he had a tragic life. He died in the 1960s. There's controversy about him, like he beat another actor, a woman actor who he was like dating or married to. He was divorced multiple times. His son committed suicide after he died. So a really tragic life. And to think that it's right here in Arizona in my house, kind of weird, maybe even a little spooky to think of somehow this just ended up here. But really quick about this damage, man. So the guy I got this from, he has this really bad habit of gluing things. I don't know why he glues uniforms and things that can be damaged. And it looks like at some point he took it off. In fact, he gave me the little shoulder boards too that went with it. And I don't know if these are actually military issue. They kind of look handmade, like there's cardboard in here. You got some metal right here, but they would have gone here. But as far as value, I don't really know what this is worth. It could be worth $100. It could be worth a couple $1,000s. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And have you ever heard of this actor? If any of you have watched his movies, do you know which movie this came from? I mean, if I can see a picture of him wearing this, that would confirm his name is, that it actually belonged to him. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Very cool find, very historic, and I think this alone makes that $200 well worth it. All right, everybody. Once again, thanks for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed all the things I showed you. If you want to talk about anything that I showed you, drop a comment, like the video, subscribe, do what you got to do. Don't subscribe. Just hope you enjoyed it. Take care.